affords a huge amount of tech. Look at this. Dark Swarm over everything, but I still don't think it's going to be enough for ZerO. Not quite enough. Because the tanks at the back and the splash damage under this Dark Swarm is going to be effective. So ZerO unsuccessful in his attack, but man, what a ballsy attack it was. But ZerO just lost everything, so he's got to replenish. He'll be able to do that soon enough with how many hatcheries he has out. But he has mostly Zerglings out on the map right now, but he really needs to get that drop done. Turrets. Oh, the turrets in this game are going to give me the giggles later, I'm sure. But here are more Zerglings out. I'm not sure what happened to that first drop, if he just canceled it because he thought he could take on everything out in the middle of the map. But it's just all these tanks out. Flash is just a monster right now, a huge wall of tanks, and it's pretty much unbeatable. But here come the Ultras for ZerO. Might be difficult for that Ultra to get out, though. I think that one Ultra might be stuck behind the sunken colony. But ZerO is going to commit himself to this. This is a bit risky, I think, because Ultras, they are strong, but they fall very quickly to mines and siege tank fire. Not to mention that, they are extremely expensive. So ZerO could expend his entire economy trying to get these out. It might be more effective to use crackling drops at this point, just to try to kill as many buildings as possible. I got to kill a few turrets in this game, ZerO. But more tanks being positioned from Flash. He has the entire top 1/4 quadrant of the map. So ZerO, not sure what he can do at this point besides drops. I don't see a way that he's going to be able to directly attack the force from Flash. So he is moving up yet again with Overlords. Looks like he just wants to use the Overlords to scout the mines. But moving up right now, huge amount of troops. I think we're going to see another engagement soon from ZerO. Just going to plow in here with his Defilers, another Dark Swarm. Trying to get that high ground, stay on the high ground as he has his Ultras and Zerglings moving in at the exact same time. Here comes more Scourge, another huge attack from ZerO, pushing, I think, 2 or 3 defensive matrix from Flash at the front. More Dark Swarm being utilized. But those tanks on the low ground, they saved Flash the first time, and I think they're going to save him again. Yep, melting everything. So ZerO at this point, he's playing an odd type of late-game ZVT. He's playing a very sacrificial style right now, just to keep Flash from moving anywhere. That is his goal right now, because the power of a mech build, as I said earlier, is to go out and do that big push. But Flash already positioning himself to take the 2 o'clock position for himself. He's building a CC up there, so he's going to take that out soon. And this is exactly what ZerO is trying to prevent. Flash getting confident and moving out with his troops. You know, the Zerglings are all going to melt to the mines, not able to do some effective mine dragging. Zerglings are not good for mine dragging. But more Ultralists being prepared for ZerO as the turrets being built for Flash at the 2 o'clock position. And I'd like someone out there needs to do a count of how many turrets were actually built in this game, because we might be setting a record here, folks. But, okay, sunken colony is being built. ZerO knows what's up. He knows what's going to happen. Flash going to commit all of his resources to taking down that 2 o'clock position for himself, because there's no other base. There's nowhere else for Flash to expand. And ZerO, his strategy to just starve Flash out might not work out. Might have wasted too many troops in those 2 huge attacks that he did earlier. Here's the Ultras getting as many kills as they possibly can. ZerO backing off because he knows he needs every single unit to defend this right now. Going to utilize the Sunkens to help him protect. Hopefully Flash, he's hoping Flash will just fall into the Sunken range. But Flash looks like he's on top of things, laying more mines in front of the siege tanks, make it more difficult to get to those tanks. Exactly what Flash wants, just these Hydralisks to melt everywhere. But look at the, oh man, the Overlords coming in. Another huge attack, the 3rd big attack from ZerO, but it looks like he doesn't quite have enough troops to get this done right now. Drops some Overlords, dropping from the Overlords, the Ultras, on top of the tanks, kind of using them as Ultra Bombs. Ultra Bomb on top of the tanks. More Zerglings not going to be able to get into the position, I think. I think these Zerglings are going to melt this siege splash. And this might be it for ZerO. He just had his entire unit composition destroyed again. All of his units go down. And he is playing that starve game, trying to starve Flash out. But he got rid of all the turrets right next to the 2 o'clock position, so that's something. But Flash still has a strong mech army on the ground, still at 120 population of mech. I think fully upgraded mech at this point. And I don't think ZerO is fully upgraded. He has his 5 carapace for the Ultra, so he's been working at Ultra upgrades. But he doesn't have full upgraded melee or anything. And now Flash, he is snaking towards the 2 o'clock base. So I think once he takes that out, this might be the turning point in the game for Flash. I think he'll be able to take that 2 o'clock position for himself. There are some minerals there left to be mined. Quite a few minerals, actually. So Flash, he's just floating over there with his command center saying, yep, I'm going to take this soon. Oh, there's a Zergling. Unfortunately, I tried to tackle that last mine. Hero Zergling, a Martyr Zergling. So here come the reinforcement troops from ZerO, killing as many tanks as he can. Because he knows if he kills the tanks, he's going to have sunken colonies there to take care of the vultures. So the vultures won't be a huge deal. He does get 1 plague over all the science vessels, so he has the entire tech tree he needs to defend against this right now, but still going to be so difficult. You can see his economy is dwindling because he just doesn't have that many troops out. Compared to Flash's extremely strong army, even though he's kind of tied up in a food count, Flash's army is still much, much stronger. There's this Scourge taking out all the science vessels. That was a nice blow to Flash right there. So Flash still moving in, though, still inching towards this 2 o'clock base. And ZerO's got to get the drops done. There's no other way he's going to be able to make it to those tanks unless he gets drops with the overlords of Zerglings, Cracklings. But I think that Flash will be able to take out the 2 o'clock. ZerO's going to work his way up, but I think it's going to be a bit too late before this hatchery goes down. But all right, all the overlords in position for those hydras to take out the mines in the middle, but still not. It's easier said than done. The tanks are in position to take those out. Here come the Zerglings dragging all the mines as ZerO still making his way up. He might be able to make a dent in Flash's army now because he's kind of, well, never mind. I was going to say he kind of split Flash's army, but all of his hydras just melted, and that was basically it for ZerO. He's down to 85 population now, doing his best to hold this 2 o'clock and keep Flash from taking it. I mean, if Flash takes that 2 o'clock, it's going to be over for ZerO, because that's basically the last heavily mining base. ZerO, he doesn't have a whole lot of drones at that new base that he has over at the 3 o'clock position. And yes, there's the turrets spinning wildly. Man, my head is starting to spin right now. I'm getting dizzy just looking at the amount of turrets. But yeah, there's not much else that ZerO can do. As you can see, he had 3 evolution chambers going, so he was committed to upgrades completely. But it kind of let him down with those huge attacks. Probably should have dropped more units there. He did with the 3rd attack, I think, and it looks like he will do it again here, trying to drop units right on top of the tanks, right into the fray, but they're still going to be melted by all the tanks. This is a very nice game, though, and I think ZerO put up an excellent fight, but things are not looking his way now. Things are starting to go downhill, although a bunch of hydras just popped out of nowhere. This looks like a bunch of hydras just popped from all the hatcheries from ZerO. If he can utilize these well enough, might be able to stop this encroaching force from Flash moving towards that 2 o'clock position, but the mine almost takes down all of those hydras. This is dangerous. The hydras running into the siege fire. I don't think ZerO's in complete control of those. No, he wasn't. Did not put them on hold position. They ran towards the tank as soon as they got the siege damage on them. So Flash waiting for the creep to die down so he can build more turrets there. The SUV's just standing over there like, oh man, I wish this freaking creep would go away. I have 15,000 more turrets to build. Damn it. It's okay. ZerO is still mining, but a very, very limited mining. And of course, a Terran can exist on a lot less mining than a Zerg can. So, okay, the creep finally going away, and Flash, as soon as the creep dies down, he's going to float that over. Right now, land it, and now it doesn't look like ZerO is going to be able to win this game. If he can somehow stop this 2 o'clock, that will put him in a better position, but still not a great position, just considering the strength of a mech build. It's still going to be difficult for ZerO to hold, even if he takes down the 2 o'clock. Here comes a huge drop from ZerO, running into a bunch of Goliaths, though. Dropping on top, look at this, everything turning into blood. Oh, the mines, there's the sigh from ZerO. Put up a hell of a fight. if he made a few different decisions, a few different timing decisions, or maybe a drop inside the main or something, some more economic harassment, just a few more decisions, and I think ZerO would have been much more competitive in this game. But he gave it your all. Flash is just kind of unstoppable when he has this engineering bay. That is a hero engineering bay that allowed for maybe more turrets than I've ever seen in a game before. But alright, Flash comfortably mining at the 2 o'clock base now. That's going to give him almost unlimited minerals as ZerO is dwindling. Only has about 300 minerals. 70 population, so he's at half the population of Flash. And I think this will be the last-ditch effort. He's going to run in here with his Ultralist, try to do the mind dragging. Going to be successful, mind drag into some of those troops, but it's just not going to be enough. And I think that's it. Yes, GG from ZerO. Fantastic game. I think we're going to see some Terran haters come out of the wings, though, saying, what kind of camping BS was that? Whatever. It was still funny. Well, this has been Nuke. I'm going to move on to the next set.